morning, everyone. We'll call this special meeting agenda October 28th to order. It is 8 a.m. on October 28th. So we have Vanessa and Brad and Colette and myself present, as well as Mr. Roth and Mr. Fall. James, are you on, please?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and James is on via phone, so everyone is present. Okay? So then we're going to start with the only item we have on that, the National Register of Historic Place nomination, and I'm going to let Aaron speak on what he's found and what he has learned, and then we will move from there.
So it was early, probably first week of October or so that I received that letter. It was addressed to Robbie, obviously, saying that the school is the elementary school, formerly Harvey High School, is nominated for the North Dakota State Historic Preservation Review Board for the National Register of Historic Places. Kind of mixed emotions right away. Obviously, it's kind of an honor type thing, you know, looking at that building and the history that goes along with it. Since then, I visited with a few colleagues, specifically Devil's Lake, and I also visited with my mentor group a little bit. And I have some reservations about it. In visiting with some of those people, they made it sound like anytime you plan renovations on those buildings, it could be incredibly tedious. It's a lot of paperwork that goes along with it, and a lot of, for lack of a better phrase, what seems like red tape that goes into it as well. So my concern being that, number one, how timely of a manner can we get some of these renovations done if need be, and number two, what are the costs going to be that go along with it? So I have some definite concerns over it. You know, where I sit right now, I know we have obviously boiler issues in that building, but at the same time, we have plumbing in that building that's incredibly old. We have wiring in that building that's incredibly old. And some of those walls in that building are thick concrete walls that would need to be obviously modified a little bit to get some of the infrastructure reestablished in there. So just in visiting with my colleagues, I'm concerned about it. I worry about the financial implications for the school district, and also the limitations as to what we can do in terms of renovations to that building. So I definitely have some concerns with it, and I just wanted to meet with you guys today to discuss those a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about how this works then. It's on October 31st.
Yeah.
And so go ahead and you did a little bit of research on that as well.
Yeah, so I visited with a gal from the State Historic Society. She said, as a school district, you're obviously entitled to voice either support or your concerns over the nomination. The meeting starts at 10 a.m. on Friday at the North Dakota Heritage Center, and they're actually going to review nominations at 10:35. In the initial letter that she sent to Dr. Lukens, it did talk about addressing comments to the State Historic Preservation Officer at the North Dakota Heritage Center. If you're objecting to the nomination, comments must be notarized or made under penalty of perjury consistent with yada, 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 and received before the State Review Board considers the nomination on October 31st. So if, as a board, you guys are wanting to object to the nomination or at least express concerns against it, it needs to be delivered to them before the board considers the nomination on Friday. So that's kind of why I wanted to meet today, just to give you guys that information. That way, if we decide that maybe this is not the avenue we want to go down, we can do it in a timely manner and get the Historic Review Board a letter before then. So.
Okay, so before I don't want, we're not gonna talk about it, we have a motion, but before we, entertain a motion, does anybody have any further questions for Mr. Roth? Anybody have any other questions they want to answer before we do anything here?
So is there any document for, basically for those concerns that you're expressing? Like, is there a,
Basically guidance if you receive that nomination type thing?
Oh, she's asking,
yeah,
she's asking, you're saying what's wrong with her, some of the things we need?
no.
Oh, no?
No, what he's saying, more of a, if it were to go to that, what, what are the restrictions? Because it's kind of hard to make that kind of decision
Yeah.
without really.
Let me see if I got anything.
So I was kind of looking through this stuff for, and there's nothing there for beyond.
Right.
I called a couple places. There wasn't really anything that I could find. I went on like the National Register to see what, and I called a few places that are, and they kind of, what they had said is that anytime you want to do anything, of course, you have to call, first of all, or you have to present. Needs to be very detailed, they said, as to exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you're doing it. You know, you have to send that to them. Then they decide, they send back as to yes or no or whatever. And they said, you can't touch anything first. The one place said that they can't, if you want to replace a window and if it's not going to be exactly like it was before, he said you can cover it. And we said, but like some things, like at that one place, they had like hardwood floors. And it was a school, and they wanted to change them because it's so hard to keep them up, and they're getting so gouged and dinged up, and they would not let them do it. They finally got them to at least let them do their special ed rooms because they could justify, because of the students in there, that, maybe that they sit more on the floor and different things or whatever. Other than that, they were denied that. The gal, I also called down there to talk to this Lorna, and she just said, they try to work with you, but she said there is certain things that if it's going to touch the integrity, that they'll say no. And she also said that if you want to tear it down, she said, we can't say that we'll never say yes, but she said it's very adversely looked at, were her words. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions for Mr. Law? Okay, so then, what are the board's wishes?
I make a nomination to object to the nomination to be on for the National Register of Historic Places, and to authorize our board president and superintendent to write this letter and get it to them before the 31st.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, moved by Colette, second by Brad to deny this application and to direct the superintendent and board president to write the letter of objection by October 31st. Any discussion? Colette, since you made the motion, you have the right to speak first.
I guess just after visiting with them, I had really a lot of concerns knowing that we have so much work to do there, and if every time, knowing that we're going to have a boiler project coming is going to be huge and is going to be touching supposedly a lot of rooms, from what that Al from Johnson Controls, I think is very strong or whatever, said that if all those thermostats are original and have to be replaced, if we're going to start touching all those rooms with electrical and everything, that's a concern in the first place. Now we have to, besides worrying about that, we also have to be careful of the integrity here. And I guess my biggest thing that I want to say is I'm extremely disappointed that we are to have everything everybody's after us constantly, which we need to be, and we are. Everything is transparent, everything is public. We do a board meeting. Heck, people probably read this before I even did, when Aaron sent this out that morning on October 3rd at 8:12 a.m. I didn't read it till like 4 hours later or whatever. And so we're so transparent. But this was started by individuals a year and a half ago on May 7th of 2024, and none of us, I can't say none of us, I knew absolutely nothing about it as a board. Yes, the few that I've asked, Brad, you were new, but you didn't know anything. Mr. Anderson didn't know anything. I asked Aaron, which I know he is new also, and James, that none of us knew anything about it or the community. I feel like this should be something that is done as a community as a whole when it's such, I realize it's a public building, they have the right to do it, but I feel like this should have been a community involved project when you're talking something of this magnitude. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, any more discussion?
Well, another question, I guess, what about grants that become available through this?
Well, my understanding is that there are grants, obviously, like in some way, shape, or form, typically a 50-50 matching grant. I was trying to find some more documentation on that, but which obviously would be of a benefit to it. But if the costs of any project are increased because of the National Registry designation, how much would those grants ultimately save the school district? I don't know the answer to that. Right. That's also my concern. But in talking with Devils Lake, they said some of their projects are 2 to 3 times the price of what they should be. So if a 50-50 grant is helping cover a project that's 3 times the price, the school district is ultimately paying more for that project. So, I mean, they're there. I've heard mixed feelings about how effective those grants ultimately are.
I'm not gonna vote to oppose this because I don't know. I think there's potential there. I don't know. So, yeah.
And I think it'd be a different scenario altogether if we had received this letter in June, July, and the meeting was still Friday, to give us, as a school district, more time to do some research on it. It's the timeliness that concerns me so much of it.
Well, and that's why I just thought, by objecting to it, I was hoping that maybe then if we want to do it, look more into it, and then do it as a community project, then could we do it some other time?
Is that an option?
I would say so.
I mean,
from what I've heard, people have put in more than once.
Well, can that be like included and asked to this board? Or at this meeting, I mean?
I would say so.
That if we decide that it is a good thing if we come back, would they, always say no, or would they be willing to look at it? Yeah. I'm fine with that. I just feel like there's not enough known, and I just think this is something that should not be done by two individuals, yes.
Robin?
I guess I share Colette's concern that nobody really knew anything about it till 3 weeks ago. And I also, I don't know if the financial benefits outweigh what restrictions may be put on us, but I think everybody else will agree, we really don't know enough about the financial benefit side. So I guess if we would have been involved in this process since it started, we would have more knowledge of what the program is about.
Thank you. James?
Yeah, I'm 100% against this. I think it's more red tape, they're trying to promise you a little bit of money and they're hanging it over your head. In the end, it's I mean, it would cover like 80% of projects if you want to think, but it's, you're just hoping and praying, hoping and praying. It's just gonna disappoint you, man. And then once they got control, they're gonna use it. I mean, I've heard stories, it just doesn't sound positive to me at all. And the way they went about doing it, was another thing that irritates me.
Okay,
That's about it.
anything else, James?
No.
Okay,
Vote no against this.
all this, okay, all
I'm
this,
gonna object to it, so,
okay, you're objecting, as you're saying? Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
object.
I'll just, talk a little bit, I'm, as a president, I'm not supposed to talk a lot, so I'm just gonna say that my concerns echo Aaron's, Mr. Wells, excuse me. I'm not sure that this is in the best decision, benefit of our kids, of our school at this point, so I have a lot of concerns as well. Mr. Wells, even though we object, doesn't mean that the historical society will not pass this, correct?
Correct.
Oh, we have the right to do that. They make the decision based upon their application and based upon that. So everybody knows that. Just because we're objecting doesn't mean that they're going to object. Everybody good with that? Okay, so if there's any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? See no further discussion, we're going to proceed to vote. And the motion is, and Mr. Fall, correct me if I'm wrong, but the motion is that we are going to the Historical Society, we're going to deny it, we're going to oppose the request for historical nomination, and we are putting the superintendent and board president in charge of writing this letter and by October 31st. Is that pretty much the motion?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. James, did you say aye?
That's a good idea.
Okay, for the record, it's 4-1 in favor of opposing the application. Okay, so again, we can't talk about anything else. That's all that's on the agenda. And so we will keep you informed. We will pick Mr. Ross and I will be there today and get that out. And we thank you all for coming. We thank you all for your interest in this thing. All right? Motion, and I can do that on a special meeting. Means adjourned. Okay, I got it.
Thanks, James.
It doesn't-
Have a good day.